Alright, welcome to the video on finding the slope from 2 points. Now before we start, I want to talk about what we've already done, just to show you that it all relates. Alright, so first thing we've done is we've done slope from a graph. So if you have your graph here, and I give you a line, okay, remember we talked about if you have a line, all you need to do is you need to pick any 2 points. So let's go ahead and pick this point, and then we'll pick this point here. Once you have those points selected, all you're doing is you're going through and you're doing your change in y over your change in x. So it's going to rise 1, 2, 3, right? It's going up 3, and then it's going to run 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it went up 3, went over 3. Remember, slope is rise over run. So that would be 3 over 3, which would simplify to 1 over 1, or just simply 1. Okay, so remember, if you have a graph, you find any 2 points, and all you're doing is the rise and the run, how it gets you to get to those 2 points. Okay, now the second way that we learned it was from a table. So remember, whenever you have a table, your x is always on the left and your y is always on the right. So if you have sets of points, so let's say we've got 0, 3, 1, 1, 2, -1, and 3, -3. Alright, so in the graph you were finding the rise and the run, right? How you got from the x to the new x. So here all you're doing is you're looking at the table and you're looking for your constant difference. Okay, so over here, to get from 3 to 1, you take away 2. To get from 1 to -1, you take away 2. And to get from -1 to -3, you take away 2. So if you notice, it has a constant change of -2, -2, -2. Right, so that's your rise. Your rise is -2. And then for your x, to get to 0 to 1 is 1. From 1 to 2 is 1. And from 2 to 3 is 1. So this number right here is your rise, and this number right here is your run. So it's still rise over run. So your slope would be -2 over 1, or that could simplify to just -2. Alright, so we've got graphs and we have tables. So now we're going to kick it up a notch, and instead of putting it in that organized fashion, okay, I'm just going to give you 2 points. So I'm going to give you 2 random points. So let's say we're going to get 2, 4, and -4, 6. Alright, so we have our 2 points. Now we talked about the slope formula also, which I'll go ahead and write that down, is slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, those 1s and 2s, all it talks about is that we're talking about our first set of y's and our second set of y's, our first set of x's and our second set of x's. So my suggestion to you, and I know you guys are going to get upset about having to show your work, but I promise it will help you. If you go ahead and label, this is x1, that's y1, that's x2, and that's y2. Now it doesn't matter which one you say is x1 and which one you say is x2, but you have to have the x1 and the y1 in the same ordered pair. So you couldn't have x1, y2. That doesn't work. You have to have x1, y1. Okay. Alright, so all you're going to do from here is you're just going to plug in your points. Okay, so y2 is 6, so it's 6 minus y1 is 4, 6 minus 4, and then your x2 is -4 minus your x1, which is 2. Okay, so we get 6 minus 4, which is 2. -4 minus 2 is -6. Okay, So this simplifies to 1 over 3. And if I have one negative, that means my entire slope is negative. Okay, so what I want to do is, I should have some room down here. Let's say this is my graph. It's going to be kind of small. So let's do the points. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's about there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's about right. So there's my graph. Oh, sorry. Things acting up. Let me get my point. Okay, so my point is about up here. You know what, that's not going to work. I'll do it on the other page. Okay, so we had 2, 4, and negative 4, 6. Okay, so here's my graph. Alright, so I'm going to plot those points just to show you that it's the same thing. So I've got 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, just right there, and then I've got negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, 4, 5, about right there. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line, which is not perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do my rise over run. Okay, so when I went from this point over here, I went down how many? I'm at 6 and I'm going to go down to 4. So I rose a negative 2. Okay? Then I'm over here at negative 4 and I have to go all the way across to 2. So how many did I run? I ran 6. So my slope is negative 2, because that's my rise, over 6, which is the same thing as negative 1/3. And then you can do your entire slope as just negative 1 over 3. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is just connect all three of these ways that we're doing it. You can use whatever way works, but the problem with getting stuck on graphing or stuck on tables is that it creates extra work from you. So if you just take the time to plug it in into the formula, okay, it'll work for you. So let's go ahead and try another one real quick. Okay, so let's say we've got our points negative 2, negative 3, and 4, negative 5. Alright, so first thing I want you to do is label your points. x1, y1, x2, y2. Notice how I have them matching up. So my slope formula is m, slope is equal to the change in y, so y2 minus y1, over the change in x. So you're just finding the difference between them. Okay, so now I'm just going to plug in. So my y2 is right here, that's negative 5, minus, and my y1 is negative 3. So I'm going to subtract a negative 3. This is where your integer rules come in. x2 is right here, so that's 4, minus x1, which is right here, so it's minus a negative 2. So this actually means 5 plus 3, and this means 4 plus 2. Remember, when you're doing integers, 2 negatives make a positive, 2 negatives make a positive. So 5 plus 3 is 8, 4 plus 2 is 6. So that means our simplified slope would be 4 over 3. Alright guys, so if you just take the time to write the formula and follow the steps and go slow and don't be in such a rush, I think you'll do fine. It's just going to take some practice. Okay? Have a good night.